I want to talk about this traffic stop in Florida that is getting so much attention and would probably be getting more if it were not for the Jeffrey Epstein story. So this young man was pulled over not long ago in Florida. I think that he didn't have his lights on at the right. It was raining or it was dusk, or I forget the exact story and the context behind it. But we're going to discuss it. We're going to bring some folks on and talk to these folks who know more about it. But first, I want to play. This is the initial video of the traffic stop that went out first. Here it is.
When he pulled me over, he walked up, opened my door because my window don't work, right? Okay. And then I said, so what I did wrong? Yeah. He said, well, for one, your headlights are off under this weather. I'm like, okay. There's multiple people headlights off, first of all. And then there's no rain.
It doesn't matter. You're still required to have headlights on.
Can you pull that law up?
Huh?
Can you pull that law up?
Yeah, when you step out of the car, I will.
Can you call your supervisor? Can you call your supervisor?
All right, go for it.
Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands.
Here.
I'm here. What is your reason, sir?
Step out.
What is your reason?
Step out now.
All right.
Get on the ground.
Don't.
Get on the ground.
Stop fighting.
Put your hands behind your back.
Put your hands behind your back.
I'm resisting.
Hands behind your back.
What's wrong with you?
I was putting my hands behind my back.
Ain't no talking now, man. Ain't no talking.
I'm fucking tooth shit, bro. I was doing it, bro. What's going on, man?
You're under arrest. That's what's going on.
No, bro.
Yes, bro.
You
Yes.
have a lawful reason, bro.
Big knife center in here, too.
You gonna come and go like that, bro?
Yeah, I'm gonna take it off of you,
man.
bro.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to have a regular conversation with y'all, bro.
That's not how it works.
Too late.
It ain't gonna too late.
When they asked you to step out of the vehicle, you should have done that shit.
Sir, your partner didn't even ask.
Marijuana in his right pocket.
Yes, it is.
So why close the door if you see him pull up?
Because, man, what you mean? He talking about arresting me and stuff, bro. I didn't do nothing.
It's called resisting, idiot.
I didn't do nothing wrong, sir. Can you back me up to the car so I can clean up?
Shut up.
When he pulled me up.
Okay, so then that's that. And then I just want to put up, this is the body cam video that they are using here. They say everything is not what it appears to be. This went on for quite some time, and that he did not follow the officer's instructions, and that they had to somehow, do what they did in order to make him comply. And so they're saying that this happened for a long time. Then he closed the door. They could not get to him, and they had no other choice but to bust the window out. So they said that there's context and what have you. But watching that video is extremely disturbing. To join us as well as Cedric Alexander. Cedric Alexander is here. He is a former colleague and a friend. Also, the former head of the National Black Officers, right, Cedric? National Black Law Enforcement. National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, former president, Noble, and a former police chief, a former deputy mayor, and a consultant as well, law enforcement consultant. Welcome to the program. When you watch that, what do you think?
I'm embarrassed. I spent 40 years in public safety. I've chiefed across this country, 3 major metropolitan cities, and led Homeland, TSA, and Dallas. I've been across the spectrum, job done for 40 years of my career. And I even spend time now in my retirement consulting with chiefs across the country who run into issues that may be a concern with them. But here's a problem I got with Jacksonville, to get straight to this. Over the last number of years, particularly since Michael Brown, we have been saying to police officers, don't go out here and create a situation that don't need to be created. So in this case, they're saying, well, we'll pull him over because he didn't have headlights on in inclement weather. I know you got some other shit to do other than this, right? There got to be a lot of other things you can be doing.
Cedric, can I just say this? I have never heard anybody being pulled over for that, but go on, sorry.
Well, yeah, but there are all kind of laws on the books in which officers legally can pull you over. This very well may be one of them, right? So legally, he may have the right to do that. But in this environment, in this time that we're in, is that really worth getting into this kind of situation with anyone? Sir, turn your lights on, have a nice day, right? And he probably would have just done that. And the kid opens the car door. Hey, my window won't roll down, so I got to open the car door. The kid's talking back to him. You hear him call for backup. And then you get 3 or 4 of the guys to show up and take this situation from my perspective, from my experience, and from many others as well, because I've talked to other police officers and chiefs across the country. And the problem is here, it should not have escalated. So you break this window over the fact he didn't have his headlight on. That is just way over the top. It should not even have escalated to that point.
Well, let me jump in.
You punch the kid in the face.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, we're going to show that. We'll talk about that. But here, this is what, again, I'm just devil's advocate here. Okay, I'm not calling anybody devil. It's the figure of speech. They're saying they would not have to do all this if he had just complied. We hear that a lot. You know how many of these stories I have done. Yeah. And they're saying that they had provocation to do it. I don't see anything in the video that shows provocation. I drive around, and some of the newer cars, the lights just come on automatically. You know what I'm saying? So I've never heard anybody but I can see if the guy was like speeding away, there was a police chase, he pulled a weapon, he was, you know what I mean? I don't get it.
Don, I got to jump in here. You and I met on police violence cases, right? Like, you and I met on police violence cases. I've been on, with respect to Clay, whose work I'm familiar with. I've been on panels with the 3 of us a myriad number of times on police violence cases. I want to be very clear with the respect to the notion of, I'll say, arguing innuendo as opposed to the devil's advocate, or arguing the alternative. The compliance narrative from law enforcement is bullshit. All right, we've seen it over and over again. We saw it with Terrence Crutcher in Oklahoma, who was shot literally by a sheriff's deputy with his hands up as the helicopter circulated above them and said, "Put your weapon down." That officer was later rehired as a police officer in other places. We've seen it in South Carolina with other individuals. The notion of compliance is bullshit. And it is a quick exit and almost a red herring, if you will, as a distraction technique to derail the discussion around the fact that safety and law enforcement, in terms of our psyche, need to be untethered when it comes to this conversation and conversations about a traffic stop. We are talking about a traffic stop where someone was pulled over because their lights weren't on, and yet because he sat in his car, he faced a level of violence and aggression rather than service and protection from law enforcement. And so, for anyone who's watching and wants to get engaged with this conversation about, well, all you have to do is comply. There are case after case after case of where that's not necessarily the case.
Well, that's why I brought it up, and I'm glad you said it, because I've been seeing so many people make excuses for it. And when I saw it, I was like, wait a minute. I heard that, on these conservative podcasts on some of the manosphere. I don't watch cable news, but I know the excuses that they're going to say. They're going to say he should have complied. He should have done this. He sat in the car. Okay, I've been a kid. Maybe the kid was, maybe he could have done something different. He's a kid. He doesn't look like a bad kid. He doesn't seem like a bad kid. He was very calm in the situation. And by the way, Charles, you and I, excuse me, Cedric, you and I talked about this earlier. You see what Lisa G says on the screen? No officer arrived had headlights on.
Well, I pointed that out when we talked earlier.
Yeah.
Those that go up to the city headlights on. But that aside, look, I know what it's like to be a police officer to go out there and pull people over. I understand the risk that's associated with it. I understand all of that. But here's what I cannot accept. And you're absolutely right. This whole did not comply kind of resonates with me going back years while I thought I shine object bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of, that's supposed to just make it okay. But the point of it is that sometimes people will question, well, why did I get pulled over, officer? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's okay if people inquire.
That's what I do.
Here's the thing out of all of this, and you can shape it, bounce it around, call it whatever you want to. There's no way that a simple stop for someone to cut on their headlights should have ever escalated to this level. Exactly. And those officers could have done a far better job than what they did. One officer ends up with 4 officers on the scene for this kid. And then you turn it into something, and then you punch the kid in the face. But here's another issue I have. The sheriff of that county, who comes out and say, well, nothing here was done wrong. How you know?
Do we have that? Do we have that soundbite?
Yes.
Give me 1 second, please.
Okay.
Should there be an investigation? Yes. But that investigation needs to come from outside of that agency, not from within that agency. Because if you have the sheriff, the one person, elected official in that county who's responsible for everybody, whether they voted for him or not, he has responsibility that a fair, equitable investigation is conducted. And those should be held responsible. That was poor police work. It was poor procedure. You just don't see that. Nobody just break your windshield out just because of inclement weather. I mean, this is ridiculous. And this paints a bad picture for policing across this country, because we got thousands of good police officers out there. You know them, I know them. Even going all the way back years, Don, when we got into this whole thing. And for someone who has policed these agencies, I know what they are trying to do. I know when supervision come on the scene, what they are supposed to do. That kid asked for a supervisor. Whether you liked it or not, he requested one as a citizen. So this is just not acceptable. And I'm bringing this up in a couple of weeks at our national convention, NOBLE, National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Exec. I'm bringing this up to the board because this kind of behavior, this kind of conduct, I am not going to allow to reflect on the rest of good law enforcement across this country.
And for time,
resigns himself to being just kind of dismissing this. You're not going to dismiss this.
All right, let me play this. This is the chief, I believe, that you mentioned. Here it is.
Social media is not reality. One video clip devoid of context can be very misleading. Given that McNeil never brought this incident to JSO's attention, but rather pushed the cell phone camera footage that he had in his possession since March 5th out on social media, one can only assume, and I'm saying I assume, that he intended to inflame the public. The administrative process is still ongoing, and as such, I will neither defend nor commend Officer Bauer's response to resistance until all the facts are known and the investigation is completed. However, as the leader of this agency, I will not remain silent while important facts and information are buried to advance an anti-police agenda. The truth is, William McNeil Jr. was non-compliant with JSO officers within 21 seconds after he was stopped for multiple civil infractions. His non-compliance quickly rose to the level of criminal resistance to a police officer. McNeil was arrested and pled guilty to resisting a police officer without violence. Force absolutely looks ugly. And because all force is ugly, whether or not the officer involved acted within outside JSO policy, that's still what we're investigating.
Okay.
I was quiet when Cedric was talking because I respect Cedric and have worked with him on a number of different panels like these. But what that officer just did, because I had heard the clip, is exactly the problem when folks want to talk about the thousands of good police officers that are out there. Because when you are able to stand up, and I'm not even going to talk about the race of the speaker, I'm going to remain neutral there and just say, as a police officer, when you are able to stand up in this situation, and that is the statement that you give, I, as a citizen, cannot tell the difference between you as a bad officer and the alleged thousands of good officers that it seems like you are protecting by this speech. And that is exactly why this is such a crisis in America around policing.
Go ahead,
Well,
Clay.
I also think,
Cedric, hold on. Let Clay. Clay has not spoken. Go ahead, Clay. Because Clay knows about this.
Yeah.
You, Cedric. Go on.
So, a couple quick things. Philando Castile, 9 years ago this month, shot and killed in his car. He complied. Dante Wright in Minneapolis, the police officer pulled him over because of an air freshener, and he was shot and killed by police. These are people who quote unquote complied. As it relates to that sheriff that just spoke, I'm going to say that he is a proud Republican. He went to Liberty University, which is a famously evangelical Christian school. And so I would think there is some kind of political agenda there. I want to remind people that Trump said, remember this, that he wants to give officers full immunity from prosecution. Full immunity from prosecution. He wants officers to have no accountability whatsoever. And while I am very happy that this 22-year-old man is not a Dante Wright or Philando Castile, there's another angle of this, the lying. The police officers, I think there's two separate reports. One of the officers said he was going for a knife. We see the video. It doesn't look like he was going for a knife at all. Another report left out that they punched him. So it's the explicit lying, and we see it time and time again. And if it wasn't for this video, what would we have? So now we're in a space. Remember the racial reckoning of 2020? Remember all the change that was supposed to bring? Now we're in a space with our sham of a law and order president, who I call a pro-crime president, and has people installed there going to basically say what he wants them to say. And it's going to be so difficult to get any kind of justice.
Yeah.
So here we are. It's the rerun. It's happening again and again. And protesting, you see what they're doing to protesters now. They have put in a place where folks can get away with this. So I hope this young man is okay, and I'm grateful that he is alive.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.